Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. As you can see, I'm here with my guy, familiar face on the channel, my boy Reliable Rants. How's it going, my man?
What's good, y'all? Nothing much. Chilling.
Yes, sir. We got a great show for you guys today. All-Star Weekend's approaching, the new year. We're a little bit into it now, and I think we got a few things to talk about. I think the first thing that we will talk about, though, is my guy, D Rose. Obviously they had the big Derrick Rose night this past
Yeah.
weekend, and on that day they actually announced that his jersey is going to be retired next season.
Mhm.
So I guess I will ask you first, like, do you think that maybe they should have done it just the other night? Do you think that this is the right decision to retire his jersey? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
No, I think if anything, like it just seems early in general. Like when I think of a lot of jersey retirements from like other people, I think of like 3, 4, maybe 5 years out the league, maybe even more. Then you get your jersey retired. So
Mm,
like D Rose, like he's been lingering around the league a little bit. So like for him to be 1 or 2 years removed, the Bulls are already giving him this honor. Like I don't think we should look at it from like a day-to-day basis and be like, oh, you should have done it. Like it's pretty insane that D Rose, like he's fully deserving of it, but it's pretty insane that he's getting his jersey retired in the middle of this season. And I'm just happy for Bulls fans because I know they all love D Rose. So yeah, I'm not like critical of the Bulls for like scheduling of this. Like the fact that it's happening this early is pretty amazing, I think.
yeah, I mean, even and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like when Kobe got his jersey retired, it was the second season after. It
Yeah,
wasn't the first season after,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And it's like really for like the great all-time greats is when the earliest happens. So
Mm-hmm.
like Kobe, like Shaq, Carl Malone, like all those guys, like I'm pretty sure was like a year or two. So
Mm-hmm.
D Rose is pretty much getting put in that same category in terms of the timing of it. So it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
And even like Shaq, like with Orlando, and like I think like Kevin Garnett with Boston took a bit. Like some of these do take some time. And I definitely get that as well. I think the thing for me is that like the fact that like they hadn't confirmed it was going to happen eventually.
Right.
Like that's kind of the thing. Like if they said we'll retire his jersey in like 2 years, 3 years, like okay. But like
Mhm.
they left it so unknown up until like a few days ago. That's what was
Yeah.
suspicious. Because I'm sure you remember like when literally before they even officially retired, but like the Grizzlies, like when Zach Randolph and Tony Allen were
Yeah.
done playing there, they're like they're never wearing their jersey again.
Yeah. And like the thing is, like some franchises, I mean, I guess they are more critical of their jersey retirements. It's like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, let's look at your accolades. Let's see if you're actually like worthy of this.
Right.
D Rose obviously didn't win a championship for Chicago, but he was the youngest MVP ever. And I think there's a level of like sympathy for him because of the injuries
Mm-hmm.
and like a feeling of like missed potential, which is just like, I think the fact that we feel bad for D Rose and Bulls fans love him so much for that just adds to the motivation to retire his jersey so early because he's an interesting case and he's one of the biggest like what ifs in I think in NBA history.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely adds to the fire.
I think too, like he's really a piece of Chicago, and that's another part
Mhm.
of it, just because like he grew up there and everything like that. And I mean,
Yeah,
at least for me, like we had four jerseys, like player jerseys, retired before they announced that it was Jordan, Pippen, Bob Love, and Jerry Sloan. And like obviously, Michael Jordan, in my opinion, is the goat, and like Scottie Pippen also won 6 championships alongside him.
yeah,
So it's like it's gonna be hard to top that. But like at least if you're asking me, compared to like a Bob Love, who I mean, rest in peace to him, and I even met him. But in Mister Original Bull, Jerry Sloan, like I feel like D Rose did more for the Bulls than those guys personally.
yeah. Bob Love had his jersey retired.
Yeah, Bob Love and Jerry Sloan both did. Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
mean, D Rose definitely did more for the Bulls in terms of like culture and fandom than I mean, he was a lot more electric. Yeah, it was at a different time, but like, yeah, if those guys are getting his jersey, their jersey retired, like D Rose definitely deserves it.
yeah, to me, D Rose is the third greatest Bulls player ever. You could argue at his best he was second, but I'm not going to put him over Pippen just because he didn't have like the longevity with that. But like,
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
either
I think
way,
it'd be really difficult to put him over Scotty. I mean, it's
I think like
It,
peak for peak you could, but like not like everything he did. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but that's the thing with like all player rankings and GOAT conversation. It's also stupid to me because there's no criteria.
Yeah.
It's like you're arguing over nothing. Everybody
Mhm.
can make an argument based on their own like line of thinking. So it's like, oh yeah, you could say D Rose averaged more points. He won an MVP. Scotty didn't, but Scotty won 6 rings, and Scotty was one of the best defensive players in the league. So it's like they all have their own things, and they all can be appreciated on their own. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter at the end of the day. That's why I don't even think these conversations are even necessary. Like,
Yeah.
who did more for the franchise? Like,
I think with me too, like, and then we can move on. Is just like it just felt like the Bulls for so long were so stingy to like even retire a jersey. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they never. I mean, whether we think they should have it retired or not, like they never even gave any indication that they would think about that for like Luol Deng, who was there for a decade on great teams, and or Joakim Noah, who pretty much same thing. And like I know people don't like Joakim as much, but like I mean, if you like just from watching the Bulls at that time, like they were like culture shifters for our team. So like the
yeah.
fact it's not considered, and then like the fact they were still debating it with like like dude, every MVP should have their jersey retired like on a team.
Yeah,
So
I think it's at the end of the day, it's like, did Luol Deng do enough for the franchise to have it be that nobody will ever wear number 9 again because of him? Like, you know what I
I don't
mean? It's
know. He
like,
was top 5 in a lot of stats, so for us.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why
I
it's
just
tough.
think that's what they end up looking at, and they probably have a higher value system,
Yeah.
you know. But it's interesting how different teams like will retire some people based on what they did, and some will.
And just like with the Bulls, it's like I know they've had some down years, but like nevertheless, they're still like what a top 4 franchise ever. I mean, there's your
Mhm.
Lakers, Celtics. We're probably next. I mean, unless you want to argue the Warriors, but like that's the fact we don't have that many retired jerseys. When you see like Portland has so many, and like these other teams, like it's just crazy.
I think because you guys, unlike other franchises, have been so like super high and then super low.
Yeah.
Like all of your rings came from those 2 or 3 superstars, MJ, Pippen, Rodman, and then you just had down years with like really no movement. Like I guess other teams have had consistent like stars coming in and coming in and coming in.
Mm-hmm.
All the Bulls are just like they had like the best player ever come in, and then they just had like some down years with like nothing. So I think it's like it's not about like the quantity of players. It's like you guys have had the quality of players
Yeah.
and like for that amount of time. Like
I think that's a good reason why we probably won't see another one from like this recent-ish era of the team. Because I
is
mean,
Rodman retired?
who Rodman? You said
Yeah, is he
no.
up there? Yeah, I mean he only spent a few years with the Bulls, but it still should be a conversation, I
Yeah,
think.
there's a few that I mean, like even like Artis Gilmore and stuff. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, one guy I guess we could talk about right now likely won't get his jersey retired by the Bulls, and that's Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I guess that's a perfect segue. This whole like Jimmy Butler thing, I mean, like him and Pat Riley going at it. He basically requests a trade. It seems like he's been very quiet yet aggravated by the Heat's organization and everything that's gone on, like at least the past couple months. So I guess like, what do you make of that, and like, where do you think he's gonna end up going, like in a month maybe?
Yeah, I mean I think he was quiet until that press conference
Yeah.
where he absolutely let loose.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I mean, especially with trades like this, it's not like usually the bad teams are not in conversation for superstars like Jimmy because I feel like one, Pat Riley has too much respect, and also Jimmy just won't. I don't think organizationally they'll let a trade happen to a team where Jimmy can't compete.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty like easy to just rule out a lot of the rebuilding teams who might want to get a star. That leaves teams like the Suns in the mix. I don't think the Heat will accept any trade for the Lakers without Austin Reeves in it, and we're not doing that. I honestly think he'll end up in a Phoenix Suns uniform. I think the Suns will end up executing some sort of 3-team trade with Bradley Beal because obviously the Heat don't want Bradley Beal back. Why would anybody want that $15 million deal? But there's a way to make it happen. I just don't really see any other viable options for him out there. Like not a lot of teams out there want an aging star that comes with some baggage and will kind of be the new center of the team. I mean, Jimmy's like a leader. Jimmy's a loud guy. So it's like you're kind of changing your culture with a trade for Jimmy Butler. And I don't know how many good teams in the NBA really want that right now. So I really see the Suns as like the only viable option. And even then, Beal and the Heat is not like a match made in heaven. So that'll be complicated. It's an interesting situation for Jimmy right now, I think.
Yeah, and it's an interesting situation for the Suns too, because I also have on here. I'm like, if he's going anywhere, it's gonna probably be the Suns,
Yeah.
just because like he's already mentioned there's a couple places he's interested in. There's teams now that are told like not to make moves for him that have been informed,
Yeah.
and on top of that, like you see Bradley Beal, it's like he said I believe he'd wait, set aside his trade veto thing. His I'm forgetting what the word is for that.
Trade clause.
Trade clause. Thank you.
No trade clause.
Yeah, no trade clause. I don't know why I was thinking like his trade veto thing, but he said he would set that aside for the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Heat. And so it's like, well, if he means the Heat, as in like he doesn't mind going there and filling in Jimmy Butler's role, then I think that might be okay. That would work. But is that also like, and I'll bring up like Luol Deng again, like we were just talking about him, like when Kobe requested a trade in like 2007 or so, and he said, if I want to go to the Bulls, like I'm only want to go there if you keep Luol Deng there. You know what I mean? So maybe is it like he's only thinking I want to go to the Heat if Jimmy Butler's still there or something like?
No, I mean, I think it'd be obvious. Like Bradley Beal knows that. I think even financially, the trade will have to be for Jimmy Butler. The
Yeah,
Heat aren't going to give up Tyler Hero for Bradley Beal.
right.
That just doesn't make sense. And if he gets traded for Butler, like Beal playing alongside Tyler Hero is just like ugh, you know, like they're the same player, same play style. Like it just doesn't seem like good match. So like I don't even think that would work.
That's what makes it hard too. Is that like I don't know as much as people don't want Jimmy Butler. Like I think just for the contract sake, people don't want Bradley Beal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that dude's making 50 mil, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's almost like an option could even be if like Jimmy just remains on the team this season and just doesn't play the rest of the year. You know, like a kind of like Kawhi with San Antonio at the end or something. Like I don't know. I mean, that might be the likeliest scenario if no one wants to move him. And then if you're thinking from his perspective, and I'll ask you like what you think he would do. Like I think he has like a $50 million player option next year, which is a lot of money, but I know he thinks he said he thinks he's still in his prime. I just saw something like that. And he probably thinks he could earn that elsewhere. A team would sign him. Like, do you think he would accept his player option? Like, because he thinks like I might not make that much money elsewhere, or do you think he'd actually turn it down and be like, let me go on the market, and then maybe no team wants him?
I really think he'd only accept that player option if he can get a sign and trade. Because like it's hard for me to believe like how terrible that relationship between him and Pat Riley is. They suspended him and now he's gonna accept that option. Like I don't think he truthfully believes he can make 50 mil. But with Jimmy Butler, like he's one of the most unique players in the league because like he'll be like mid in the regular season and then he'll come out and just dominate in the playoffs. And he can just kind of like turn it on whenever. So like, look, I wouldn't doubt it. Like if he goes to a team and starts absolutely killing and looking like his 2018 self, like I wouldn't be surprised. He's not making 50 million in free agency, but I feel like he's got the personality to turn down a lot of money to get himself in a better situation. So yeah, I don't really see him accepting it and then just sitting on the bench because I think that's what's going to happen. Like him and Pat Riley hate each other right now.
Yeah, like that would almost be like similar to kind of like what Ben Simmons did, like when he first got that money from Philly, then they moved him. But I don't know. I mean, it's just really weird. If he were to get traded to the Suns, I don't even really think that's a good fit for him because, I mean, he's not even the shooter Bradley Beal is. And then on top of that, it's like you're going to have him probably in the starting lineup as well. It's like now your bench is going to suck again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I feel like Jimmy might be a better fit on the Suns than Beal is because it's not like they lack. They have their shooting with Booker and KD, and they kind of need a personality in that locker room. I think I don't really think they have like a leader there. So like if you get someone like Jimmy, like I don't know, maybe it could like just motivate KD and Beal more and add some more energy to that franchise. But
Yeah.
you never know.
I mean, I think he probably would make them better. I don't know what their ceiling is. Like, I feel like maybe a first round
Yeah.
exit again. Like, the
Yeah,
West is tough. So
they had to expand earlier in the year when they were doing all right, and then they just started losing like crazy. So
yeah.
we just lost to the Mavericks without Luka and Kyrie. Like the West is just insane. So
Well, our boy
yeah.
Suns Geek is really losing it over.
Yeah, he's got a whole plethora of things to talk about right now.
He dropped a rant the other day when they lost to the Hornets.
Oh really?
But if you want, though, we can move on. We can talk about the next topic. I feel like this is a good one to touch on because now we're a little over, well, just a little under halfway through the season, kind of the middle point, and there's still some teams that like maybe have some expectations, whether it's like by the fans or the media or whatever it may be, and for them to get to where they want to get to, they might have a hill to climb. And so I'll ask you, like, whether it's been injuries or they've just been trash, like, what team do you think has like the toughest hill to climb to like meet the expectations that have been set for them?
Yeah, I think the obvious answer for me is the Pelicans. I think I made a video a long time ago of saying like, look, this team on paper could have had the ceiling of being a top 3 team in the West.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got if everything went right, Bi, Zion, CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, and then you've got Herb Jones and Trey Murphy off the bench and Jose Alvarado. I mean, that's not only a super talented team, that's a gritty team, a good defensive team all around. And it's just, Jesus, they're 7-29. They've had the worst injury luck in the entire league. Brandon Ingram's on the trade block. It just seems like the worst thing that could have happened to the Pelicans is what happened to the Pelicans. And I feel really bad for the front office because, like, you put all this work in to build a team that you think could win a championship, and then things that are out of your control just absolutely deteriorate you. It's, like, hard to deal with. And especially as someone who loves Brandon Ingram, I've been following him for a long time. I was really excited for him to see some success this year, but doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I think in the future for this team this season, I mean, you get Zion back, you get CJ back, you have DeJounte. It's not like they're going to be tanking, right? It's like they're still probably going to, if they get healthy and they get balanced again, like they're going to probably try starting to win. And they have easily the biggest hill to climb because of the talent they have and their record. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm eager to see if they trade BI for some picks, but I don't know. It's not looking good for the Pels, but I think if they really meet their ceiling, like they could be a top 3 seed in the West.
Yeah, and I know obviously Zion came back the other day for the first time in like forever.
Yeah, he looked good. He had that crazy dunk.
He did. Actually,
Yeah.
I was most impressive thing is they compared it to like his dunk he had at Duke, and I'm like, how do you get higher on the dunk he did just the other day after all those injuries?
Yeah.
Like
You got to give him some credit. He didn't just start eating Carl's Jr. He started cutting,
Carl's Jr. That's crazy. But no, I mean, I feel like, I mean, that is a good choice though too, because especially like with them, I mean, they are a team that should be competing. So, I mean, they're so low that like you could maybe see the front office say, like let's give up and like let's just start making trades.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you have a team that's still relatively young. Like you could just try to keep winning games right now. And like
CJ had 50 the other night.
Yeah.
Like this roster is capable as hell,
Right. But I think my team, I'm going to put on here, and it's not really so much like the fans' expectations, but the media expectations for them. And like I didn't believe in them even when they started the year like 10-1 or whatever. It's the Warriors. I don't think the Warriors are that type of team. I think that their window has sailed. I know that they keep saying like get Curry help and this and that. It's like I just don't think that they have the pieces anymore to make it happen. I know before the season they were saying like, well, let's make a move for Lauri Markkanen. And I love Lauri Markkanen, but I don't think he could even save this team right now. I think they're just a very mid team. And I feel like their ceiling is a first round exit. I don't there's nothing that I see that like makes me confident that they're going to like revert to their old styles and they're gonna be a contending team again. Like I think that ship has just sailed, and like the way what we're seeing here, I mean they lost like a bad game to the Kings the other day, and then I forget who they just lost to right after that, but it's just like losing games that like normally they would at least compete in. Like they don't
Yeah.
even compete in some of these games.
And the morale is like we've seen like Curry starting to get frustrated.
Yeah.
And what's crazy to me about that team is Buddy Hield.
Mm-hmm.
He's had one of the most historic drop-offs I've ever seen. He came out in that 10-1 span you mentioned, averaging like 21 points a game.
Yeah.
And I think I saw a stat like the last 2 months he's averaging 8. Like the fact that even can happen, like he was replicating Klay Thompson, he was filling a big hole, and then you lose that production. It's like shit. Like what do we go to now? You know?
Yeah.
So like that definitely played a big part. I agree. The Warriors are kind of. I think they might just have to accept the run is over.
Yeah. My friend, when I had my friend Xander on here, he said the same thing. Like how Buddy Hield, he's like great for 10 games, he's trash for 10 games, and it's like you can't rely on him, but you also can't rely on guys like last year or in previous years. Like, I mean, when they won the championship, Gary Payton II was huge for them. He's not the same player anymore. I think Brandon Podziemski looks way worse this season than last season. So like these guys, like, and not only that, but like, and I know his stats aren't as bad this season compared to others in the like last couple, but I mean, Draymond's just not the same player. Like, it's clear.
Yeah, I think the only reason he's been playing at the level he has is because he's got more of a usage rate because of the lack of offensive production they have. Like,
and he's been in less trouble this year.
Yeah, that's true. Even though he still yaps at refs so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Warriors, it's not looking good.
Yeah, I think, and I don't expect that. I don't expect really either of those teams. If I had to be realistic about the Warriors, I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs. I feel like they'll probably lose in the play-in again.
What seed are they now?
They're in 8th, but like they're very close between 11th and even 5th, I think.
It says right now, yeah, they're in 10th. They're tied for 9th with the Spurs.
Oh, yeah, they're 10th. So, yeah, the loss the other day must have just put them below. Oh, yeah, because the Timberwolves won. So
the Kings on their win streak are creeping up. Jesus, yeah, it's not looking great.
Yeah, the Kings have like great momentum right now ever since that's kind of the thing too. And I guess I'll add it about the Pelicans. Like, I feel like the Pelicans players have in a way like tuned out Willie Green. You know what I mean? Like, just like how the Kings kind of tuned out Mike Brown. And then now you got Doug Christie in there for them. Like, you've seen how it's like kind of, this is the first time they've looked happy all year, the Kings, like right now.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I feel like Willie Green has had like a good run so far in his career with the Pels. Like I've only heard like good things. Like I don't know like if you can really blame it on Willie Green because of what he had to deal with this season. I think like I would cut Willie Green some slack until they get their roster back, and if they still struggle, like then you could start blaming the coaches. But for me, like I don't know. I feel like Willie Green could still be a good coach. I don't know if he's lost the locker room. I guess we have no way of knowing. But
I mean, the only thing I'll add to that is I know his biggest season, I think. Really, it was back-to-back years, and I think it was like 22 and 23 when they were like play-in teams and stuff. Because 22, they were remember they started, they were like 2 and 15 or something, and they still made the playoffs. And then the year after that, that was when they were the 1 seed for like the first third of the season. Like I think he had them then, but even the same thing could be said about Mike Brown that year because he was coach of the year. And I feel like I don't know. Some of the players, at least lately, like they tune out coaches quick. So I'm not saying they necessarily have, but like just from me watching, it looks like some of them have. I won't say all of them, but it looks like some of them have.
I guess we have no way of knowing until something happens. So
yeah, well, we will have to see. I'm sure eventually something will come out. But
yeah.
All right. Well, we can keep pushing though here to the next topic, which is kind of 2 major storylines, I guess, to look out for until the end of this season or playoffs. I don't know if you want to alternate with this, like you give one, I give one, or if you want to give your 2, then I can give my 2.
Yeah, we'll do 1 and 1.
Okay, you can start first if you want to.
Yeah, I think the Magic are an interesting one because right now they're 22 and 16, even with their 2 best players out. And I think with the way they're playing and the way they're being coached, when they get Franz and Paulo back and they've got this team in full, they could shoot up the standings in the West and they can actually make some noise in the playoffs. I think this team has looked better than I ever thought they would this season. Mm-hmm. And I just think they're going to be interesting to watch. They're supporting. This is actually good for them because their supporting cast right now is having to step up and they're having to play more minutes, get more better NBA experience and play winning minutes. And when their 2 stars come back, they're going to be accustomed. Their supporting cast is going to be accustomed to playing better roles and being more experienced. So I don't know. I think it's going to bode well for them. I think Paulo and Franz are going to come back and change the entire team around again. And they're going to look scary, man. Franz Wagner is nuts. He's insane. So I'm definitely looking at the Magic as a top team in the East.
He was definitely playing like he was really on the MVP ladder for a bit there, like kind of not like top of the ladder, but like top 5, 6, 7 area.
Yeah, he's averaging like 25 on like 50, 40, 80 or something.
Yeah. And it's good because like it'll also relieve some like I guess some stress pressure on like those role players. I think Paulo is even supposed to come back in a couple days here or something like that too. So that'll be good. I think my first one it revolves around an Eastern Conference team, and I think it's the Atlanta Hawks. You know, like just in seeing what they can do, and I think they're a weird team because right now they're sitting in 7th. I'm willing to bet they probably are the likeliest team to jump up to the top 6 just because Miami's in 6th right now, and you know they have the whole thing going on right now with Jimmy Butler. We don't know what they're going to look like, but the Hawks, I mean, they could be interesting because you think about it, like they beat the Cavaliers twice. They only 4 losses for Cleveland. They beat them twice. They beat Boston in the in-season tournament, and they beat New York in the final. It was like the final 8 for the in-season tournament. So, I mean, like those are the top 3 seeds in the East, and it's like the fact that they've been able to beat those teams, and it seems like they've kind of really flipped a switch from last year too. Like, I feel like Jalen Johnson, like he's really taken a step up. And as much as people might say like he's a bust or something like that, or he's not your ideal number 1 pick, like I feel like Zachary Rissaje has been like a really solid number 1 pick for them. Like he's not going to probably be a star, but I think he could definitely be like a key player for them a while.
Yeah, and he's been getting like 20 minutes a game. I feel like his per 36 numbers are a lot better than you would actually think. Like, I think he could be pretty good. I agree.
Yeah, so I guess that's just my first one is seeing like if they can be a scary team, if they can, I feel like they're capable of upsetting one of these top teams.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the whole Cavs thing makes no sense to me. The fact that they beat them twice in a row, actually. I think they played back-to-back games against the Cavs and beat them both times.
They did, yep.
It's really weird because, I mean, I guess they have good perimeter defenders, but like Trae Young having to guard Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, switching onto them, kind of like matchup picking, doesn't seem like it would be a good strategy, but somehow they still beat the Cavs. So it's kind of insane to me. But yeah, anything can happen in the league.
For sure. And then, so I guess with your second major storyline to look out for, what would you say?
Yeah, I'm going to say the Denver Nuggets. I think it's pretty not many people expected for the Nuggets to go through what they're going through right now. Obviously, they've lost key pieces in the past. They've lost Bruce Brown. They've replaced players with Russell Westbrook. Christian Brown has had to step up. Jokic is playing at an all-time level, but for some reason, they're just not playing up to their standard that we know of in the past. And I think it's interesting that how the NBA just evolves, you know. Teams could be relatively similar to what they were in the past, but as other teams become accustomed to their systems and as they regress in ways, it's just crazy how the NBA just comes. Good teams just come and go. I think Jamal Murray has regressed the last couple years. Yeah. I think the Nuggets just don't have enough firepower offensively to create their own shots without Jamal Murray. I mean, you have Jokic in the paint, but then you just have some catch and shooters like Michael Porter Jr., who's been playing good, but I don't know. I think Russell Westbrook has kind of been clogging the paint too, which is not bode well for Jokic. It's really interesting, man. Their individual players have been playing really good overall, but they've just been terrible from a team standpoint for their standard. So I'm really looking forward to see if they can turn it around. And if they make the playoffs, it's like a 6-7 seed. Can they just turn it on and act like that 1-2 seed that we know? Or is their dynasty or not dynasty? Is their run just over? Like, is it just like that? So I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out and like what the actual truth is behind this Nuggets catastrophe right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be dependent a lot on just like what Jokic is capable of doing on his own. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I feel like I like if they were to win the championship, it wouldn't surprise me just because that's how good he is. I probably wouldn't bet on them to do so just because there's so many other teams above them right now. But
Yeah.
like, I even think like a Western Conference Finals appearance is like possible with him. Like that's just how good I think he is.
Yeah.
And if those other guys can step up, like I mean, Jamal Murray's never really been a regular season player. The thing that really was eye popping though is just like how in the Olympics and then last year in the playoffs he just like didn't show up really.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like that's where he usually is like made his name. So if he can do that again this year and then these other guys can play their role and they have like a good chemistry flowing, like then maybe, but I mean up until then, I mean right now they're in fourth and they're you know, they're below teams that have not made noise in the playoffs like the Rockets or the Thunder.
And they lost, I forgot to say they lost KCP too. So like
Yeah.
players are just these are important role players.
And I think, and I've said it a few times, like I mean, I don't, I don't really mind them not paying KCP or not paying Bruce Brown. It's just the fact that they didn't replace them with anything. You know what I mean? Like they let him go and didn't like get anything back. It's like
and the Nuggets fans like swore like Zeke Najee and stuff would be like the next best thing in Denver. I'm like, bro, like no.
He's like the next best bench warmer.
Yeah, like you're not just gonna replace Bruce Brown's production like that. I mean, they've got Julian Strother stepping in. He's been like all right, but he's like defensive liability. Like, you know.
No, I do agree with that. I think they're going to be interesting. And my second one is also a Western Conference team, right above the Nuggets in the standings right now, the Memphis Grizzlies. And I say this because, you know, last couple of years, like, well, prior to last season, last couple of years, they were like 2-3 seed, like in the Western Conference for a while, and they, you know, they lost like to a lower seed in the playoffs. They lost to Golden State one year, they lost to you guys the next year, and so it's like, are they like really a team that you can put like your eggs in their basket? And then last year you see the injuries, and I feel like to an extent the injuries have really given Taylor Jenkins kind of, I guess, like a bypass for the time being. But this is his like 6th year with the team, and I'm not super high on him as a coach, but I feel like this season, I mean, they've been healthy. Ja really hasn't even had to go off right so far. It seems like he's been really preserved this season.
He keeps getting injured every other game. It's insane.
Yeah. So like he hasn't even really had to do much, but it's not like anything where it's like he's going to be out for the time being. Jaren Jackson's been there. Desmond Bane's been there. Like they didn't really have any of these guys consistently last season. Maybe like Jaren like for parts, but like they didn't really have all of them. Marcus Smart for a bit too, although he's missed some time recently as well. But it seems like they're going to have all their guys in April or May. That's like the trend we're going on right now. And if they lose again to like a lower seed, I feel like we got to have a conversation about his job security.
Yeah. I think what's really interesting about the Grizzlies is they run a system that no other team in the NBA runs. They don't set any pick and rolls. All they do is pass the ball around until you can create a one-on-one opportunity. Then they attack the basket, collapse the defense, and just keep passing the ball around until you get an open shot. It's kind of like high school basketball, honestly.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. I've heard JJ Redick talk about it in depth. I've heard other coaches talk about how like what Taylor Jenkins is doing is like not revolutionary, but like super odd.
Yeah.
And it allows every player on that. Like you won't see a player on the Grizzlies this year averaging more than like 22, 23 points because the ball's getting spread around so much because there's no pick and roll stuff. There's no like ISO stuff on that team. So it's been working to an extent, but I agree with you. Like if that doesn't work, then you got to change the system, and that might include firing Taylor Jenkins. So I think that's pretty interesting.
And I mean, the other thing I'll compare it to is like, I mean, even with Cleveland, like Donovan Mitchell's kind of said this, Kenny Atkinson said this, like how their minutes are down, maybe his stats are down this season, but like it's all in an effort to preserve him for the playoffs. You know what I mean? And like that might be partly the case here, but like just some, like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's a conducive formula for winning, especially as like the season gets further down and like maybe the playoffs come about. You have to be able to draw fouls like naturally. So I don't know.
I don't know if the Grizzlies are necessarily like playing down their players for the playoffs.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying though. Like I don't know if they are either.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jaw just keeps getting injured like
Mhm.
every other play. He says he's not going to dunk again, and then he just don't get me started on Jaw. Jaw kind of pisses me off, honestly. I hate when Jaw just like, especially when he played us in that series 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He just goes from the free throw line and jumps with no direction. He complains for a foul when he just flies in the air and loses the ball, and then he gets injured and wonders why you're getting injured, dude. Like you're just jumping with no sort of intention. Like he's an insane athlete, but sometimes it just like pisses me off, dude. Like
Yeah.
stop just jumping. Like use your brain, you know?
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
and so he'll even say something like that, but he just won't follow suit with it.
Yeah, and he trust me, like you're gonna get your highlights. Like I'm like obviously we've seen what was that crazy jaw highlight he had the other day? Some like I forget what it was, but like
Was it the 360
yeah, yeah.
layup?
Like
Yeah.
those moments are gonna happen if you jump like that, but also the injuries are gonna happen if you do that. So like it's kind of like Saquon in the NFL. He like they were saying he hurdles too much and that's why he gets injured.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. It's like stop hurdling for no reason. Like stop jumping like that. Like yeah.
Yeah. And we've seen them like have success even in his absence, but I feel like you're not gonna win anything in the playoffs without him. So,
Yeah, I agree.
but yeah. I don't know if you want to move on here to the
Do it.
honor of the week segment, and then shortly after we'll have the little mini game. So how this is gonna work is it's a former player. It's gonna be somebody that I know you're familiar with. You can talk about them in a good way, in a bad way, however you want to, and you'll have 1 minute to talk about them.
Okay.
So,
I'm ready.
so are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So as soon as I tell you the player, you can go. So your player is Michael Beasley.
Okay. I actually wait, go.
Yeah, you can go.
I actually saw Michael Beasley once in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
He was high as a kite. It was really funny. Um, but overall, I think Michael Beasley had a very underwhelming career. He was obviously one of the best players coming out of that class, and he was nasty in college or high school, and he just didn't end up living to his potential. He's a funny guy. I like Michael Beasley. He was on that 2019-2020 Lakers team that went pretty far. I think he was on the championship team too. So like, I don't know. I think Michael Beasley had some good years, but it's not like he lived up to his potential. And I think his career was riddled with injuries too, which affected him from reaching it. Um, I think when I think of Michael Beasley, I just think of a funny guy. He's pretty close with Kevin Durant. They've had some funny interviews together. But overall, I really don't think that Michael Beasley had the career he wished he could have or he could have had potentially. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I'll give you.
that was right at the 1 minute mark too.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's definitely a funny guy. I still remember that one clip of I forget like what he I don't even remember what he was saying, but basically it was like he was like I don't even know. He was just totally confusing the one
Yeah,
reporter. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, just kind of things like that. He's definitely like a player that no one else thinks like. That's probably the nicest way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
but
Maybe J.R. Smith or something.
but he was a real scorer. I mean, like even in the big three when he went there afterwards, like he was
Yeah,
like torching that league.
tough. Yeah, he's tough. I just don't know what happened. Maybe something with work ethic. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, almost was a Chicago Bull that year. It was between Derrick Rose and Michael Beasley, and we went with D Rose. But if we went with Michael Beasley, I mean, I don't know how things.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right. He was in that class. I
yeah,
forgot about that.
they were
Yeah,
the top two. They were saying like they were the
yeah.
main two, and then everything else would align after. But yeah, I mean, he had some good years still with the Heat, the Timberwolves. Notable moments on your Lakers, the Knicks. So
Yeah.
yeah. But if you want,
What,
we can.
did you just do like a random player generator, or did you just
Oh,
like?
so basically, like how I pick these is like I go through like whoever has like a birthday like close to this show. I think, and to everyone watching, we're recording this on Wednesday of this week, so I think his birthday is Thursday. So I think it's tomorrow from when we're recording.
Interesting strategy.
Yeah.
Huh?
So just I feel like it keeps it like kind of fresh. It's like
Yeah.
it limits the
It's
the
good to
field.
acknowledge people you probably won't ever think of unless, something happens. It's good to just like think about random people,
Yeah.
especially in the NBA.
Right. And if you want, we can move on to the mini game. Now this mini
Let's
game
do it.
focuses on the first pick in the 2008 NBA draft, my boy D Rose. And it's called the Rose Gold Trivia Minigame. So how it's going to work is each question, there's 10 maximum points you can get, and there's 5 questions. So if you go perfect, you'll end it with 50 points. The first and last question, well, you're only going to get one guess on each question I ask you, but the first and last question, it's like an all or nothing. So you have to get it correct to get 10 points. If you get it wrong, you get 0. The second through fourth question, you'll get partial credit depending on how close you are. They're all like number-based questions.
I feel like I'm sitting in like a exam room right now, and my professor is giving me instruction. You'll get partial credit on these. No, I'm ready. Let's do it.
So he's locked in. He's ready. All right. So I feel like the first one should be fairly easy. First question is, who was Derrick Rose's starting center for most of his time when he was on the Chicago Bulls, like his teammate?
Joakim Noah.
That is correct. It is Joakim Noah.
That worked.
Okay. So, I mean, that one was pretty easy. I had a feeling you would get that one for sure. So already starting off 10 for 10 right now. It's pretty good.
10 for 10.
Now number 2 is going to be a little tricky. You're probably not going to know it exactly, but we'll see if you can put in a good guess here. So during his MVP season, what was Derrick Rose's free throw percentage in clutch time only?
Okay.
I think it was the MVP year. He had to be pretty clutch.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. I hope you're not trying to deceive me with that one.
I'm not trying to. But.
I'm joking. All right. I'm gonna give you 87.4.
You on 87.4?
Yes. Percent.
Okay. So locking in 87.4%. And I will tell you that was 2.3% away. It was 89.7.
I'm taking that every day of the week.
So if you would have got it exactly, you would have got 10 points. If you were within 1%, you'd have got 9 points. But because you were within 3% and a little more than 2, you got 7 points on that one.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
So that's not bad. The third question, though, we'll see if you can get another high point one here. So how many games in his career did Derrick Rose record 0 assists?
I'm pretty sure his MVP season he only averaged like 5 or 6, like maybe even less than that. Like I don't think he was. No, he definitely did. I don't know what I'm saying.
I did have the ball a lot, but
yeah, I'm gonna wait. In not only for the Bulls, right? In his
whole career, 0 assists.
So like he was playing games on Memphis, like where he would play like 10 minutes. I'm gonna go with 13.
Going 13?
Yeah.
Okay. It is not 13, but you did get partial credit again. You got 6 points because it was 17 games. Okay.
Again, I'm not like too mad about that.
I mean, if you would have guessed like 30 or something, you wouldn't have got anything. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
actually, believe it or not, on his 8 years at the Bulls, he only had 3 games like that. And two of them he got hurt in as well. So
I assume they all came after when he was just kind of lingering in the NBA.
Yeah, I think even prior to the 2020, I think he only had 4 games like that, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
But so far, you got 23 points right now. You're kind of cooking a little bit.
Okay.
Now the fourth one, you might know this. We'll see. Okay, what year did Derrick Rose win the skills contest or the skills challenge?
I'm going to go 2012.
Going 2012?
The 2011, 2012. No. I'll do the 2012-2013 season.
So that would be 2013 then, right? It's like the later years of the All-Stars. So you want
Yeah.
So final answer, just double check. You go in 2012 or 13?
Okay, I'll go 2012. Final answer.
I don't want to confuse you because you're like
No. 2012 final answer.
Okay, 2012 final answer. That was a good decision to change. You got 1 extra point there, but it was in 2009.
Oh wow!
So
damn.
Yes, but you were 3 years off, so you got 7 points there.
Okay. I don't know why I thought I remember him like in like right after that MVP season.
Yeah. Fun fact too, and I don't know if people remember this as much, but he was in it then. He actually was supposed to be in the skills challenge in 2020 as well with the Pistons.
Really?
But he pulled out last minute.
Yeah.
So it's a little tidbit. A lot of people don't know that, but you still got 7 points there. So that's pretty good.
All right.
Right now, you got 30 possible points. If you get this last one here, you'll be sitting real good. So are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So last one here. Now it's all or nothing. You might know this, but I feel like you might not. So we'll see. Who is Derrick Rose's agent?
Dude, I don't know.
It's supposed to be an impossible level one.
Yeah. So like, I don't know of many agents, like besides like Rich Paul.
I'll give you one little hint. This guy played in the NBA.
Okay. Dude, I don't know. Who do I know? It's like I was thinking like, is there a time limit?
No time limit.
Okay. Who could possibly be an agent? I was thinking like Jerry Stackhouse, but I'm not gonna go with that.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know. I'll just go with Jerry Stackhouse. I have no idea.
Okay, so you're locking in Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah, I know it's not right because he's like an assistant somewhere, but I have just no idea.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, it is not Jerry Stackhouse. The correct answer, it was a former point guard who also played for the Bulls, B.J. Armstrong.
Oh, damn. I should have thought earlier. I was thinking like early 2000. I mean, like early 2010.
Yeah.
Did a lot of people get that right?
Well, so everyone has like different questions, but like
okay.
the last question, only 2 people have gotten that so far this season. Like whatever.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, you still did pretty decent, I would say. You ended with 30 points of 50. How do you feel?
I think I feel good. I mean, like the first 3 I was kind of cooking, and then like I feel like I should have done better on the 2012 season. I feel like that left some points on the board because like most people probably guessed 2009 or 2008. I'm assuming.
Well, I will tell you, I mean, so far I've had 10 people on for this, and you're in the top half, actually.
Hey, look at that.
That's pretty good.
Change.
My guy Xander was number 1. My guy Trill Bucket's second. Romp actually was cooking too. He got 3rd on this.
Were any of them Bulls fans that you interviewed?
I don't think I've had any Bulls fans on yet this season.
Because I feel like if you ask a diehard Bulls fan any of these questions, like they're getting number 1.
I guess my friend Xander, like who finished number 1, is technically a Bulls fan, but he also loves the Hornets. So, so it's kind of weird. You scored better than Suns Geek though. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I figured that.
Dang.
Suns Geek is a Suns fan. Like, Suns Geek is not like a general NBA savant, I think. And he would agree with that. He would agree with that.
Suns Geek catching strays. I mean, he's kind of a historian in the game.
He knows a lot about the game, but I feel like he won't go in depth about the NBA like we do when it's not the Suns. When it's the Suns, it's his ball game.
Hey man, I will agree with that. He's definitely the Suns savant. But nevertheless, I mean, you still got 30 points on the trivia mini game. And
send this clip to Suns Geek. I want to see him respond to the stray.
You want him to respond to this?
Yeah, let's start some beef.
Got it. I'll post a separate clip of it, and we'll see what his reaction is.
Tiny NBA community beef. We'll start. And then
we'll
get into it.
Anyways, though, appreciate you being on the show, and hopefully you guys enjoyed what we did. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You got anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm uploading again. Subscribe to my channel. If he's nice, he'll put my link in the description.
Yes, I will be sure to do that. My man is back on the grind, and have to stay tuned. Better go subscribe to him, and once again, you better subscribe to me too.
You better subscribe to Super Mario too.
Yes, let's do it, and subscribe to Suns Geek. I mean, we kind of just bashed him a little bit.
Nah.
No, I'll say it. Okay.
Subscribe to Suns Geek.
But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.